welcome back to Steel Division Normandy 44. So today I'm going to be playing once again 2nd Infantry. There we are right there. And we are playing a 10v10. So this game turns out to be quite well. And one thing I want to mention right at the beginning, tomorrow I'm going to post a review on the deck that I used for this game. So watch this game, and tomorrow I will post a review for the deck that I'm using here. If you're watching this later on, well then you'll see a link at the end of this video directing you to that reviewed video if you want to see the deck that I used. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. We've got the speed on 6 times to speed it up a little bit. Now, I apologize. Unfortunately, this individual was a rather negative Nancy during this game for some odd reason. So, yeah, just ignore them. So, I dropped my sign here and started moving, and they didn't like that, apparently. But that's okay. So, we push into this town, and as you can see, we've got... Let's go ahead and slow way down. I'm going to give it a pause real quick, because it kind of went too fast. So we have our Marauders, because, again, I love the Marauders. 2 units of them, one there, one there. A medium machine gun, 3 units of riflemen, a T-30, 1 60mm mortar, and, let's see, these are both 57mm anti-tank guns. So let's speed that back up. And right off the bat, we see the enemy hit the edge of the town. They didn't push quite as fast as us. I went a little aggressive, and we were able to take it very, very quickly, which was quite nice. And as you can see across the... Well, I don't want to zoom out yet because we get some action here. So right off the bat, I noticed that he was only in these last 2 buildings, so I decided to push really fast. We have a 57mm on our left flank, just in case. And here we go. So we're pushing up with our medium machine gun. We're trying to get him into position. Our ally here has a M4 in the middle, and we are able to take out the enemy vehicle that he had there. I didn't quite see what it was. And now we've got 1 unit of infantry destroyed, and we're pinning their machine guns. So I am pushing really hard. And here you'll see I'm pushing with my napalm unit, or my flamers. Is it napalm? Flamethrower, sorry. I called it napalm, but it's actually flamethrowers. No, it's napalm. Never mind. So we're pushing up. I have the guns turned off because I don't really buy them for the guns. I buy them for the flamethrower. So we are pushing up with them. Rifles, you can see, pushing up. And I am going to go ahead and grab a very secure hold of this town. Over here on the left flank, we have a Firefly moving around and trying to flank my ally over here. And fortunately, we do have this 57mm gun, which is kind of covering our back a little bit, just in case something comes up. So always recommend putting something in your flank so that it can surprise anyone who tries to circle around on you. There's the Firefly. That was something else. So over here, we are pushing up. It's both myself and... can't quite read that. Police in helicopter. Pushing quite heavily, and oh, we got a couple others over there. So yeah, we really pushed hard in this town, and as you can see, it paid off. We have a very, very strong hold on it. We have on our far left flank, they are getting a little bit pinchered off, so I do end up bringing in, I think this infantry unit, and I think there's 2 infantry that I ended up bringing to kind of start to push this way because I don't want this big... Yeah, there we go. You see a recon. That's a Marauder unit that I dropped in there, and my own tank that I dropped there. Here, the 57mm is getting some hits on this Firefly that is backing up. He wasn't paying very good attention to it, and this will cost him. This 200-point mistake that he unfortunately made. The next shot, I believe, knocks out the driver. And yep, driver wounded, and it's falling back, but it's not going anywhere, and my 57mm just plinks away at it. Shooter's now knocked out until I think the next shot, or maybe the one after, spells the end for this guy. Let's go ahead and watch it, because it's fun. I don't know how many shots he put on him, but quite a few. Okay, we're not going to watch that. So, Firefly's down. Over here, as you can see, we have the town pretty well secured, and it is time to start pushing. So in a moment here, once I get these infantry, there we go, the Firefly just went down. I have a couple units of infantry here, Marauders moving up, trying to secure this little area over here, and then we are going to begin to push in this town once again. Our allies here are actually what start that push, so once that happens, we'll try to pay attention. So across the battlefield, we are looking pretty good. Over here, we've got quite a decent hold around this city, which is something that is highly recommended. Ignore the big fight in the city and just circle around them, because well, what do you need to go in there for? But those mortars look like they're probably going to end up doing some damage. Over here you have the same thing, a pretty decent push in these bushes, and basically we are holding quite a bit of map and gaining. So we just went from 51 to 52%, and everybody seems to be pushing quite well. So back over here, as you can see, I'm moving these Marauders up. I see this little area here, and I want to destroy that potential of being flanked by them. So granted, I do have this 57mm here, so there is that protection, but they have a Cromwell right there and a couple little vehicles. Now, my allies did really well with their aircraft. I did okay. The opponents here, because we're fighting so many 91st and 17th, there is just tons and tons and tons of aircraft in this game. So this kind of turns into they spam aircraft, we spam anti-air. So you'll see that a little bit later on. So over here you'll see we've pushed up to the edge of this city. They have nothing left. Now here's a little bit of a nice issue. This unit just sits here, and I am not attacking them. That seems like it might be a little bit of a bug. They're right in front of the building. I should be shooting at them, but I can't. And I don't actually realize this for a very long time. They destroy, I believe, this unit, or one of these two units, because of that little issue. I have to bring a unit out into the field to actually shoot at this unit, so that was a little bit frustrating. Over here you can see we are pushing up along this left flank, pushing these this assault unit up. Again, we have the guns turned off. We've got another unit of scouts over here because I don't have any scouts in this left flank, or at least this area of the left flank. I have it on the far left, but that's it. We have the M4A1, which I forgot down here for a while, but pretty soon I remember that he's down here. There he is. Okay, I just remembered him, and now I'm starting to move him. We brought out an anti-aircraft gun here and another one there because, well, we've been getting hit pretty heavily with some aircraft, and we're kind of tired of that. Now, this Cromwell is hitting my assault squad and pinned them as they were trying to cross this little field. I'm not quite sure how he can hit it through the tree, but, you know, whatever. It is what it is. And I'm trying to see if I can actually move this unit up to take some shots on it. The only issue is we have a MG34 and some scouts there, so, you know, that might not work out too well. So one Bofors is down, the other one is about to go down, and my M4A1 is moving up, which is nice, as well as my other unit of recon, which these are Marauders. This medium machine gun is able to cross this field and get into this tree line, which is really nice. It allows us quite a bit of territory, and now we're at 54% of the map, which is a good amount. We need to get to that 60 though. So over here, again, we have the whole town. I'm moving up my 57mm gun, the third one that I brought in during the match. My mortars I haven't really touched in a while because, well, there's nothing in range of my 60mm mortars right now. They weren't really keen on pushing. They had way too many tanks, especially for someone who's using, I believe these guys, who are these guys? This is, let's see, does that say player? Yeah, this is player, so I don't know who that's going to be. And this is, starts with a K, this guy right here. So for 91st, they should have had a lot more infantry, but nope, they didn't. Over here on this left flank, the machine guns did take out my scouts, but I was also able to take some fire so that these Honey Stewarts came up and took out those machine guns and the Cromwell. We are taking a few shots from this Panzer, and in comes some aircraft. So these assault marines are in a bit of trouble, but they're already falling back, so no big deal. I'm bringing up another unit of marauders over here. 2 units of Bofors are down, and we just hit phase B, going quick. So my M4 is up here putting some rounds onto this HS-129, and like I said, in come the aircraft. Quite a bit are coming in, and it just gets progressively worse. My T-30 I just have sitting here. I really didn't do anything with it the whole game, and at one point I do end up moving it up, and I don't recall it doing very much in terms of, well, my micro on it was horrible. I wasn't paying enough attention to it, so I'm attack moving this gun up because I wanted to try to get a shot on whatever was over there, but unfortunately I didn't. And what am I bringing in right now? We are bringing in artillery, so we're bringing in some big guns. We end up bringing them up to here and dropping them, and they provide us quite a bit of fire support. The last game I played, it turned out decent, but it really wasn't enough, you know, as action-packed as we would want to actually show on YouTube. I may show it later on, but I'm not sure. But man, it just turned into a massive artillery battle, and those are all right, but I don't know, it was kind of boring, so I decided not to show it. So I finally brought in some P-47s, and I'm trying to help out my ally over here by putting some stress on these JUs and the ME, this JU-87 and ME-109. Both of my planes end up falling back because they do have quite a bit of anti-air over here. So as you can see, we're doing a pretty decent job pushing up. Our M4 is getting some shots on some infantry, but in comes an ME-109 to put some shots on my M4, put some rockets on him, and then we do take a shot in a few minutes from this Pak-38. So we're not falling back, which is, well, we are kind of doing the panicked fall back or whatever, shaken, but we're not quite falling back. So I'm taking some mortar rounds on this anti-air unit, so I fall him back real quick. And are we pushing a little bit yet? We haven't quite started pushing yet. So my ally over here on this right side is pushing pretty well. Alright guys, I do have a question. What is this little icon mean when there's like this little fire looking thing? I don't know if it's 2 arrows or what that is. If anybody knows, post it in the comments because I'm not quite sure what it is. I've seen it a lot, but I do not know what it means. So we are falling back now because the Pak-38 hit my M4A1, and I do have a unit of machine guns that I'm going to bring up. And fortunately, an ally's M15 starts putting some pressure on that Pak-38, and my M4A1 is saved. On this left flank, he is pushing across a half track, but he's pushing it right into 2 marauders, so I'm sure you guys can guess what's about to happen there. My howitzers, my 105 howitzers, are now counter-battering their artillery, which is very, very successful. Only a couple more rounds and I either force them off or destroy them. I'm not quite sure, but the artillery stops. So as you can see, we got a shot in on that guy and he's immediately falling back. Unfortunately, he did not get destroyed, but my my 57mm is now in range of, or can see him, and puts a couple shots, and there it is. So he's done. So we now regain some of this territory. Now, one thing I'll point out here is this huge circle means there's pretty much nothing over here. So what I really should have been doing is pushing a lot sooner. My only concern was being hit. See, there's some aircraft, took out my anti-tank gun. My biggest concern was being hit by like this, I don't know if the Pak-38 has HE. No, it doesn't. So I should have pushed. I definitely should have pushed. So that's one thing, guys. If you see a huge gap between your units and the front line, go ahead and push because there's not going to be anything really close. So M4A1, same thing with him. This machine gun, he's the only unit holding up this whole little circle. And I don't take him out for a little bit here. I mean, it's the M8 and the M4 are what do it, but they get a little reinforcement in here before I actually destroy him. If I would have just pushed, I mean, he's not going to do anything to 2 tanks. So, again, if there's a big gap between your units and the front line, there's probably no one really close to them. So as you can see, here's a unit pushing up, so now the front line has closed in on my guy. But again, could have pushed earlier. So machine gun's dead, and see, the entire front line disappears all the way back into there. So I immediately start pushing. I did bring up some riflemen, which those guys I end up dropping here, and I walk them all the way up to this tree line up here. So I have a couple anti-air there, anti-air, and shortly, I don't know if I started yet, but I'm bringing in a couple more anti-tank guns because they keep destroying my anti-tank guns in the middle, and they're just constantly pushing tanks. One thing that I did sort of, I don't know if I would say I did it poorly in this game or what, but basically there was more than a few times where I ended up with a lot of extra points. I had a huge surplus of points, so I was able to buy a lot of units, and you'll see it when I do that in a minute here. So it kind of helped me out. I did play a little bit better with less units. I was able to micro them a little bit more efficiently. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, how I feel about saving up a lot of points around mid-phase B, phase C. Because you'll see in a few minutes here, like I'm able to bring in 2 anti-tank guns. In a little bit, I bring in 3 tanks. And so bringing in a larger group at once kind of helps me out. And of course, a couple times I dropped like 3 planes at once, which is kind of nice. So over here, we're just continuing to push. My ally here has quite a few tanks that he's pushing very, very hard up the middle. And that's going pretty well for him, but all of these aircraft that are coming in are just doing some work with bombs and rockets and things like that. And then of course they have plenty of anti-aircraft planes, which took out my Thunderbolt. I wasn't super focused on the sky, so I didn't do quite as well as I should have microing my planes, but I was able to take out a few planes, so that was somewhat successful. I'm not sure if I was positive on my aircraft or not, but like I said, I just took down 2 planes with those 2 guys, so I guess that was okay. So over here, we, let's see, I believe we're bringing up 2 more. These are 76 millimeters. So I bring both of them up, and I attack move these guys right into this center area. And they're actually quite successful for a while. You'll see them doing some work in a minute here. My howitzers, I didn't really use them as much or as efficiently as I should have. Like, I should have been dropping artillery on these 2 anti-aircraft guns. Actually, that's a mortar, excuse me, but that's an anti-aircraft gun. But I didn't quite do it that efficiently. So in a minute I will end up giving them another fire mission, but they sat idle for a little bit, just like those infantry. So at this point I'm kind of focused up in this general area. I'm trying to sneak in. I have marauders here, and 2 units of marauders. Unfortunately, they don't really have a lot in terms of range. They're 66 millimeter heat rounds only have 200 meter range, which goes, as you can see, right where their name is blinking basically is where it goes. Here, let's get in a little closer. 200 meters is not that far. So they're smart enough that they're not coming close, but that's why these 76 millimeters are coming up. And we don't have anything else coming in right now. So it drives me nuts when I watch my replays and I see units that I just left sitting in their vehicles. Usually I try to, as soon as I bring them in, give them a command like unload here or something like that. But when I forget, it's annoying. But that's okay. It just comes with practice. So we have a pretty decent hold on our left flank. As you can see here, you know, we don't really have a lot to worry about. He's not pushing super hard. I think he has a couple vehicles here next to this Panzer. But my allies have an anti-tank gun, machine gun. He's pretty well set up here. So I did get this unit of rifles into this tree line, and as you can see, we are just continuing to push very, very hard against these guys, and all they're doing is spamming some of these you know, stugs and things. These tanks are okay, but I mean, if it were something like Panther G's or something, we would have been in a lot of trouble. But because it wasn't, we were able to hold these guys off quite well. They should have had this whole tree line lined with infantry, but they didn't, and I'm not quite sure why. They're playing an infantry, primarily an infantry unit, and they're not sticking around. So they've got oh wow, somebody was completely defeated. I think he left. It's unfortunate when people leave. It's always a bummer. Even if it's on the opposing team, it kind of makes for a less enjoyable game. Over here you'll see I've got some marauders. I knew his Panzer was coming down, so I'm prepping for that. And we have, where is it at? It should be coming pretty soon. Okay, so I'm trying to deal with this anti-aircraft, so I'm starting to spam. I have M15 there. Oh, there they are. Okay, so I brought in a couple units of bazookas. That was what I was waiting for, to push into this tree line, because there's so many tanks here, and you can see this ends up turning out rather well for me. In just a minute. I always like watching these little bazookas, and they're fun to watch. And kaboom! One shot out of ammo, and it's off, and it doesn't destroy it. Actually, I don't even know if he had any ammo in the first place. Oh, I must have accidentally deactivated that, you guys. Oh, what a bummer. So I was actually paying attention to this, and I was looking at it, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's out of ammo. Nope. I turned off his bazooka. What a bummer. I should wear glasses when I play. So anyways, we still do end up taking out this Panzer, because shortly here I dropped these 2 units of bazookas up and pushed them up. But man, what a mistake that was. I don't know if he destroys anybody. I know he causes some problems with this M15 right here. But over here the bazookas do push in, and as you can see we have some the 76mm is putting shots on these grenadiers, and these grenadiers over here are taking shots from this other M15, so they didn't do too well. And then my M4 ends up taking down the that Panzer that was there. So we do get him, but unfortunately this mistake pretty much made this Marauder unit not not do what they're supposed to do, which is blow up tanks. So over here, let's see, we're pushing up. I've still got this rifles unit here. Really wish it was a bazooka unit. That would have been really nice. My howitzers have sat silent for quite a while because I'm pretty heavily focused over in this tree line, trying to push up over here. And we'll just take a quick look at the front line. So we have 56%, which is pretty good. The Allies are holding quite well and pushing, really. They didn't push into this city, but you know, that's not that big of a deal when you're just holding the front line. As long as you're holding it and not allowing the enemy to push you back, and your allies are able to push forward, you're doing your job, especially in a conquest game. So zooming in here, we are putting some shots in. I believe my ally did a couple bombing runs. I'm dropping some artillery finally here on all these tanks. Now we have these 2 76s. They have come in and done a couple strafing runs with planes, which has put some stress on him. Plus now they have so many tanks. Here comes a Panther G to help out. They have so many tanks here that it's difficult to... when you have 4 or 5 tanks and you only have a single anti-tank gun, you're probably going to end up losing with that anti-tank gun, just because your one shot to their 4 or 5 is going to stress you super quickly, and then it's basically all over, which you'll end up seeing here in a minute. So this 76 is putting some shots in on this SPW, which I should have stopped that. Here comes a tank to drop this, or a tank, that's not a tank, a plane to drop this anti-tank gun. There we go. And I'm already, I believe, bringing up a replacement for it. I'm not sure. It's come in. Yep, there's the replacement. So I'm trying to think ahead, like, okay, this guy's probably going to go down. I need to bring in a replacement and put it somewhere in that vicinity. So we're doing pretty well. My mortars are now dropping some shots over there. Are those my mortars? No, my mortars are not doing it. That's my allies' 25 pounders. My artillery is done. I have stopped dropping it over here. My 76mm is still putting shots over here, which it's nice because they're all clumped up, so it's kind of helping me put some stress on all of them. There was a Panther G over here, but I don't know. Oh, there it is. That's the Panther G, which is pushing forward as well. And to be honest, I didn't see what destroyed that, so I kind of want to pay attention and see how that thing goes down. I know there comes a point where he just stops realizing I have anti-tank. I have marauders, bazookas, all in this tree line. So yeah, getting near that tree line is a bad idea. In comes some aircraft. I do have 1 Thunderbolt left, and I bring him out to hopefully push him back. But at this point, we all have spammed so much anti-air guns. You can see that it's just not working out well. We end up shooting it down rather than needing an aircraft to do it. I think we shoot down quite a few planes. Yep, there goes another one. So it costs them a lot to fly over this area for the next few turns because there's just so many anti-aircraft guns. They do get some bombs off on my ally over here, which is not a good thing. Ends up pinning my Marauders, but that's okay. I wasn't really paying attention to that flank. So over here you can see these the Panther G and the Panzer H, what is that, Panzer 4H, those are pushing up and they are coming very, very close to my Marauders, and I really want to take them out. Now one thing, the Panther G is very, very strong, but when people play them a little aggressive, I just lost my M4 right there to a 129. Those things are very strong against tanks. When people play the Panther Gs really aggressive and push them up on the opposite side of trees, well, again, remember, your AP power goes up significantly the closer you get to a enemy unit. So, for instance, the AP on this M8 is 7, but if I'm within a couple hundred meters, I'm going to easily be able to pin this Panther G and probably blow him up. So definitely remember that when you're playing these big heavy tanks that have decent armor but really strong long-range power. Just keep them back. There's no reason to push them forward. And the ones that should have been coming forward are these 35Rs and 39s and stuff, the Panzers. So we do have this machine gun still sitting there holding strong. You can see the Panther G just went down. I believe he got hit by this 76mm. That was probably what took it out. And over here you can see my Marauders putting some shots on this Panzer IV. And then of course the M8 being pushed back by the Panzer IV. But now he's bailed out. And once they're bailed out, they're basically done. I'm trying to bring in some supply to resupply these Marauders. And I bring another unit of supply over here to resupply. Yeah, there, it's already there. Those guys, in case they start using their bazookas. In a minute here, I end up bringing the M15s up. Well, not a minute, it's going to be a little bit. I bring the M15s up, and let's speed this up a little bit. I bring the M15s up to get them resupplied, and I'm putting more bazookas up there. It is not a good place for tanks. We just took out another one of their tanks, and in a little bit, this Panzer actually gets destroyed. This 76mm gun cannot see this area, but I believe I move him up in a little bit, but of course he doesn't last long as soon as he starts taking shots. So here we have a M10 tank destroyer. He's pushing up on this basically worthless Panzer, and I do have him try to take it out, but I think who took that out? Somebody else did. Maybe it was the M15 or something. I didn't quite see. So we're pushing up now with our M10 and hopefully going to put him in a good position to where anything coming down this road or peeking around this tree line is in trouble. And of course you can see now I am pushing across this open field with all of my infantry. So this side, this flank over here does turn out rather poorly. That's me dropping an attack beacon because I don't really have anything that can handle those. The bazooka, I didn't catch him fast enough or that one fast enough, and they do end up being destroyed by this machine gunner in that vehicle. Fortunately, my ally immediately gets some artillery on this, and we drop a little thank you in chat because that helped us out a lot. We were able to get to these bazookas up to the next tree line, bring this tank destroyer over, although a HS-129 destroys him, and in comes some bombers as well, causing us a little bit of trouble, but they don't actually drop their bombs, which is kind of weird. So over here, we did take out a tank, but we lost one of our bazookas. And of course, we are pushing up these bazookas as well. Now, those two vehicles that came up, I was thinking, oh great, here comes some infantry and my bazookas are toast, right? Yeah, we got another tank right there. But as you'll see in just a second, this ends up being a little bit goofy. We take a shot, we destroy it, and it's not infantry. He brought in a Pack 40. Actually, I believe 2 Pack 40s. Yep, 2 Pack 40s. The only thing that was kind of a bummer was we were able to pin this Pack 40, but this Pack 40 one-shot both of these this Marauder and that bazooka, and so I wasn't able to take him out, so that was quite a bummer. Well, the Marauders are getting hit by these anti-air guns, and they quickly surrendered. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I do have some bazookas in this area, So that is a nice little bonus, although they are completely in enemy territory. I'm moving up some more bazookas, and over here I'm waiting for a specific thing to happen, and it hasn't quite happened yet. My ally is bringing up a ton of tanks. At this point, I actually have quite a large amount of points in reserve. Here we go. There it is. So I have 3 tanks that came up. I snuck these in, and I just dropped another 4 right here. You can see them coming in right there. So I have 4 more tanks coming in there, 3 tanks coming in here, and at this point we are winning quite well. We're only getting a minor victory because this is destruction. Oh, actually the Axis is getting a minor victory, but we're hitting him so hard. Here goes another tank. In just a second, he's destroyed. My tanks are moving up, and as you can see, we just jumped up by about 1,000 points, so we're definitely gaining very, very quickly. Over here, I have a assault squad, the assault squad that's been sitting like back here this whole time. And push him up, and yeah, if you can get an assault squad near even one with only 1 guy left, you get it near a pack 40, and it is good night. I backed these guys up real quick because I saw he was about to take a shot, and that is the end of that. And now we're back to pushing. Our tanks are coming up. They should be up pretty soon. And as you can see, my ally over here is pushing into this town has a very, very strong push, but aircraft keep coming in, and Pack 38s and tank destroyers are causing him quite a bit of stress. I would definitely recommend, if you are going to do a push like this, spread out, because only a couple shots and you're putting stress on every single unit that was in there. So spread out next time, and he probably would have been able to push better. Maybe come over here with a couple, come over here, because as you can see, I'm able to push up no problem because he doesn't really notice me. He's really focused on this guy over here. So I do get an assault. This assault unit is now moved into this tree line, and my tanks are moving up. Right here, once we shot down this plane, he realized I'm there, so here comes the bombing run, and it puts a little bit of stress. I am able to destroy a little vehicle here, and here comes another bombing run, and that causes me to fall back. I do have my M8 moving up and my Marauders as well. And then my bazookas are just sitting there in another M8, which I don't recall what happens to him, but I'm going to assume that he gets destroyed. Now I have another unit of 4 tanks pushing up. I'm going to push this unit of tanks once they stop falling back the wrong direction. That's really irritating. The bomb landed behind them, so they fall back into the enemy. So I take this unit of tanks, I see that he has anti-tank guns there, and I'm going to go ahead and move over here to deal with those. I did do an airstrike against them, and so now I'm going to push on him. And then this unit of tanks right here, I'm going to push up in towards the town this way. This M8, I see that there's a little hole here, so I sneak him around the corner, and nothing over there can see him, so that's kind of a pretty big bonus. And this Panzer is falling back, so I sneak him in and I start putting some shots in on their anti-aircraft guns. Or actually, that was a mortar, sorry about that. On their mortar. And he runs out of ammo right here, puts a few more shots in, and then in a second you'll see, I'm not quite sure what destroyed them. I'm thinking it was either this unit destroyed these assault infantry, or maybe one of these tanks over here, but it had to be this guy. There's 2 of them there. So this unit is pushing forward, and over here you can see that I was able to take out their pack 40s, I believe they were. I'm pushing this unit over because I want to take away this spawn point. So if I can push back so that he doesn't have the spawn point anymore, he can't reinforce from over here, he can only reinforce from right here, and then we're going to be able to just kind of box him in, and it'll work out in our favor quite well. Now, of course, as you can see, the score is getting quite close to the end of the game. I've pushed in with my M4s, and we are putting a lot of damage in on his units, and that is the end of the game. So let's go take a look at this real quick. For the team, I did quite well. I did not end up getting first place in kills. I got a close 3rd place. So 4,300 kills to 2,085 losses. We had Foxy Ridge, who did quite well in terms of kills to losses, 4545 to 1705. That is really, really good. Our opponents, unfortunately, only really had 2 people who performed really well, and one of them was Berserk Jack, and then Krivix, I believe it is. He did pretty well, but he did take a lot of losses. So they unfortunately didn't have a really strong team, but it was a good game overall. So kills wise, we had an M8 cruising around that did very well. I'm quite a big fan of the M8s, as you guys know, which actually I must have inherited that M8 because yeah, I don't have an M8 in this deck. I'll have to go look, but I don't believe 2nd Infantry gets an M8. So we have a M2A1. The 105s took out Pack 38s, a Flak 39, and another Pack 38. The M4A1DD, that early tank that I brought in, actually did a bit of work, taking out a Panzer IV and 2 units of infantry. Of course, we had our aircraft, which took out quite a bit of their aircraft, which that is actually pretty good. I mean, as long as they're making their points back, or at least close to their points back. I think the P-47s are only 180 points, and I'm not quite sure what the 109's points are. I'll have to look later. I think the 129 is pretty cheap, though, but I don't know. So overall, we got a 76mm gun doing quite well. The other one, each 76mm gun took out either a unit of infantry. There's a mortar that was taken out. Panther G was taken out by that one. Yeah, that's that one Panther G we saw earlier. The M15 took out a Pack 40 and a JU-88. And yeah, the Ranger Assault, Pack 40, and Strawstrup, I believe it is, Strawstrup. So, what do you guys think? Pretty good game? Anything you saw that I could use some work on? If you have any tips or hints for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it, guys. And if you want to see more like it, definitely subscribe to this channel because I will be posting on the regular. One other quick note, remember, I will be posting a review of the deck that I used during this game. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. I'll be posting it up tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a great day. Bye-bye.